So I took the initiative to just get started and get going on this podcast. I've got a friend by the name of Christopher from Vancouver. He's going to be my first guest on next Saturday. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to interview him about. It's going to be something along the lines of thinking way too deep into our issues, and I don't know, maybe how did COVID impact recovery, some things like that. Don't want to make it too boring. I guess this would be considered episode one. I want to thank anybody that took the time to get on here and listen to what I have to say. I plan on this being a pretty organic process. My email is portloco2021@gmail.com. If anybody has any ideas for content, any questions you want to ask me, any suggestions, go ahead and shoot me an email. I've got this set up to where you can just call in and I can capture the audio. I'm open to ideas and suggestions. You know, I've been out of Portland for 5 years. I've spent the weekend trying to figure out what my first impression is, and I've thought of a different way to try to break it down, but I don't quite speak the language that they do here because I've been gone for so long. So I guess the first thing I noticed coming back to Portland was this. You can't really have a conversation with anybody now without making like a mental checklist of things that may or may not be off limits. So it's like, in 2016, when I was in Portland, I could have a conversation with anybody about anything without having to spend any time wondering whether or not I was going to offend somebody. I think the biggest thing that I've noticed that's changed, there's a huge amount of effort that goes into even saying hi to somebody and asking how their day's doing. You know, the minute somebody asks, you know, what have you been up to? What are you going to do here in Portland? What are your hobbies? What are your passions? It's like, I can offend somebody just by saying I shop at this store, or I'm friends with this person that went to this college, or, you know, I'm in recovery. And I mean, it's just like every word that I say to somebody, they're consciously fitting my words into a category so that they can respond to me. And it's like, I don't know, I haven't had very many very many conversations that were just genuine conversations between two people. And it's kind of sad to see how much energy it takes to have a conversation now. I have been to some meetings and met some people that were really genuine. They were very easy to talk to, but the minute you go into the homeless crisis in Portland, the political divide, you know, you can even just say something as simple as how many jobs there are, and that's almost like a segue into, you know, let's discuss why it's this way. And it's like, man, there's just so many details to keep up with in approaching somebody in Portland and having a conversation. Outside of that, Portland's still beautiful. The scenery's beautiful. The people here are awesome. We went to Southeast the other night and ate at, I think it was Matt's Barbecue. I had read about that in a Portland magazine. Really, really good barbecue for this area. There's still that hipster vibe over in Southeast in the Flats. Went to a meeting over there, got to see some people that are Southeast dwellers, for lack of a better term. Really enjoyed myself up in Jansen Beach, met some really good people up there. But I'm just glad to be back in Portland. I'm glad to get this podcast off the ground. I've been working on it for several years. The original idea was to just podcast with people from Portland and just talk about what makes Portland weird. What are your passions? What part of the culture do you enjoy? 5 years have gone by and I've really got my work cut out for me. I think that the culture's still here. Everybody's still optimistic, but there's a huge barrier between what I'm trying to do and getting the right people on this show to talk about Portland. And again, we're going to have some spin-offs. There's going to be some things that go in a direction outside of culture. I do think there's kind of a sense of, I want to say, hopelessness up here as far as what's going on with the city. I don't think that anybody really has a good solution. From what I can tell, to get Portland back to what it used to resemble, it's going to be a long, gradual process. It didn't turn into what it is now overnight, and I think that, man, I don't want to say anything that goes in a political direction. I think that the state has their work cut out for them. I think the communities have their work cut out for them, and I think until the simple things that need to be done as far as homeless, like job opportunities and housing, and how do you kick somebody out from underneath a bridge without having somewhere for them to go? They're just going to relocate somewhere else. And from what I gather, most of the people that are homeless in Portland, they want to be homeless in Portland. This is what they want to be doing. They're happy living in these tent cities, and it's like, how do you address that? How do you clean up your city? You can't just kick people out. They're just going to set up somewhere else. If they get in trouble, if you make it illegal to camp out, they're just gonna be camping out in jail for a while and go back to what they're doing. Weather here right now is absolutely amazing. It's rainy, it's cloudy, I love it. I've got my dog Luke back. I haven't seen him in 5 years. So amazing to get my dog back. Yeah, I would definitely like to get some emails. Shoot me an email, any topic you want to hear me discuss. I've got a plethora of people that I can interview on whatever topics. I think that the missing ingredient for this to be an actual legit podcast is I need somebody to interview so that our conversations can stray and turn into something meaningful and interesting. But I wanted to get something online. I put a little intro video on YouTube on my channel explaining what this is going to be about. It's not easy to sit down and just start developing content on your own, but I'm going to do the best I can. This is going to be a weekly thing, if not daily. Outside of that, my passion for this show is to reach people that are hurting. Man, I know a lot of people that have gone through a divorce. I know a lot of people that have been incarcerated. People have lost their jobs. I think a lot of people just feel lost because they're not able to express their passions the way they used to, with the masks and the social distancing and COVID and all of those things combined. I think that a lot of people that I'm really close to, they've changed in the last 5 years. And the one thing that hasn't changed is people are still hurting. People still go through life. There's a lot of people that aren't equipped to deal with life when life is great. You look at the way society is now with the pandemic, and I think for a person to be able to honestly express themselves in a genuine manner, that's not even on anybody's priority list. It's almost like right now it's just time to survive and find our way wherever we can. Hobbies and passions seem to have gone out the window, and it's sad to see people that I care about that aren't well equipped to deal with what it is now. I'm certainly not equipped to make a mental checklist before I have a conversation with anybody. That's new to me. I really don't have a filter, and to approach somebody and ask them how they're doing and what they're into while trying to navigate this mental checklist, it's just exhausting. Just to have a conversation now, it's exhausting. And I think a lot of people have gotten away from just the normal pleasantries between another person. I think that it's almost like tribalism now. I'm going to stick to my group of people because I know I'm not gonna frustrate them or make them angry. As far as like building new relationships in society the way it is now, I haven't seen an environment where that's fostered. It's kind of sad, but that's something we'll touch on later on. I got this dog back. I've had him for 13 years. I haven't seen my dog in 5 years. I got Luke back on Saturday, and it's interesting when I'm sitting here petting him. He's missed me so much. He gets up every morning. He remembers me. He can't believe that he doesn't believe that I'm back. And I know that it was hard on him, but it's like I was sitting there thinking, how would my dog doesn't know what's going on in society. Nothing's changed for him. The only thing that's changed for Luke is I'm back in his life and he's excited, and I've kind of been enjoying my time with my dog and just thinking that, how would you explain to an animal what's going on in the world. You know, an animal doesn't care about any of that. He just needs love from me. And it just seems like that's kind of what I see going on right now in Portland. I think a lot of people have found a reason to withhold love. You know, I'm normally an outgoing person. I like to talk to people. I like to get out and enjoy myself. But if you stand for this, I can't talk to you, or I'm going to be rude to you. And it's like, in order to do that, we withhold that love that we have inside of us. And that's something that I haven't become accustomed to doing. So I do have a little bit of a leg up. I like to show people love. I like to receive love. I think that's our purpose, is to give and receive love, period. I think that if we're maintaining the relationships we have, if we're building new relationships and getting out of bad ones, I think that's God's will. You know, I think evil wants us to end good relationships. It wants to prevent us from building new ones. And I think the biggest thing of all, evil wants to keep us stuck in unhealthy relationships. I think that's the difference between good and bad. You know, how are you nurturing your relationships? What are you doing to build new ones? What are you doing to get out of bad ones? That's on the left side, which would be good. Bad is, ending relationships, not nurturing them, staying in bad ones. That's the guideline I'm using right now as I'm getting back on my feet. Definitely open to some suggestions. Portloco 2021 at gmail.com. That's my email. Anybody can email me anytime. And don't get it twisted. Right now I've only got a few followers. I'm going to put this on social media. I don't expect to gain any traction right out of the gate. My goal is to capture what this podcast looked like before I got off the ground, so I can compare it to where it's going. And where this is going is I want to build a community of people that feel comfortable calling in and talking about things. I just want to capture that audio because I know there's a lot of nosy people. I know there's a lot of people that want to hear genuine conversation, and they go about that by listening to podcasts. So if you want to call into my show, I'll give you my number. It's really easy for me to capture the audio, and just because only three or four people are following this, don't give up on me, because this is the goal. This is what I'm going to die trying to get off the ground, is Portloco podcast. You know, if you've got a story of how you overcame your addiction, if you've been through a divorce and got back on your feet, you know, if you've lost custody of a child, or maybe you had a medical issue, maybe you got evicted, anybody that's gone through something that has gotten back on their feet, I think that we can reach other people that haven't got through that process yet. I think that's our job. I think our gift is our past. Whatever it is that we've been through, that we've overcome, that's our story. That's how we serve. We share that experience. And, you know, I've been out of the game for 5 years. I guess the best thing I've learned in the last 5 years is this: it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. What matters is what's going to come out of this. What path am I on now that I wasn't? Okay, I'm going through some heartbreak. I've lost my job. Nobody wants to talk to me. Now I'm on a different path. This is going to lead me to that spot I wouldn't have been capable of going to on my own. And I think that's what I've discovered in the last 5 years. Luke keeps ramming his head into the table and shaking the camera. I wish I could pick him up and show him to you. Man, I'm glad to be back. I want to thank everybody for the support. There's a lot of people on Facebook and Instagram that have sent me messages. That means the world to me. I've got some true ride or die friends out there. You know, I've talked to a lot of people that's been through some really hard stuff. I want to give a shout out to my boy Chris Stovey and Sarah. They had their baby, such a beautiful baby. Chris, you're such a brother to me. The phone calls have meant the world. Andy Farley, thank you for sticking with me. Doug Sizemore, Chris Sizemore, Alan, man, all of you guys, Sean Kay, Christopher, Jonathan. There's been so many people that have showed up to help me. If you guys need anything from me, you know you can reach out. I encourage you guys to email me with questions. If I didn't mention your name, that doesn't mean I forgot you. Mom, Dad, Beth, and Cody, obviously you guys have taken the ride with me. My old employer, Judy, man, if it wasn't for Judy and Doug, I don't know how I would have done this. But I guess to wrap this up, yeah, this would be episode 1. of Portloco. I'm your host, Brian Sullivan. My email is portloco2021@gmail.com. Like I said, if you've got an interesting story, it doesn't have to be brokenness that you've healed from. If you're a landlord and you've got some weird stories about your tenants, or maybe you're an employer that has some really weird stories about the craziest interviews you've ever done, God, I would love to hear something about that. Any type of unsolved murder, any type of cold case, just anything that's weird or interesting, shoot me an email and I'll get you on here and we'll discuss it. I think most of my podcasts are going to be anywhere from 1 to 3 hours. I know that Joe Rogan can go 4 hours, and I guess that would be my dream guest. Joe Rogan, if you ever see this, I'd like to have you on and understand how you maintain such a shiny, beautiful, bald head. I think you're an amazing person, Joe. Oh yeah, one more thing. If you have something to contribute to this, but you don't want to be on this show, shoot me an email and tell me what it is. If you've got a problem that you're going through, I've got enough people out there that I could rely on somebody to interview them about how they got through it. So if you have questions, but you're not comfortable coming on here, because it will be on social media, shoot me an email and we could do it privately. I'm here to help. Like I said, I've endured some horrible circumstances myself. I put myself through everything I've been through, divorce and trying to get back involved in recovery, and staying clean through the last 5 years. All of that's been a journey. I think that the more people we can get on here to talk about their human experience, the better. I think that's it. 16 minutes and 50 seconds. I'm going to sign off, guys. Definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll put a link up here for you. Other than that, have a good Monday. Love you guys.